Welcome this night, friends. How good to be together. And thank you for cooking, Rye or Stella or some friends from elsewhere. Just really wonderful. Tonight is a celebration, a fruition, really, of some wonderful imaginings about what might be possible as we looked at the horizon of money from the Lilly Endowment, and with some good conspiring minds thought about what could we do that might enhance capacity in community development in every angle toward enacting justice. The good work of our dean, Dr. Kyle Roberts, Dr. Justin Sabietanis, and myself in working on writing, and then for Rye to look at it and say, can these bones live? And then finding a way that they could. And with Stella Pierce's excellent, excellent work. We have come to a time of celebration, appreciation, and actually pretty much an astonishment as I have wandered through the Social Justice Science Fair. It's just wonderful to see all the good work, transformative work that you all have been about, which will be for the better good. And I am very appreciative of what you've done. So thank you for coming this night. It's good to gather to celebrate what this institution does in its 60 years, caring always about transformative ministry, being present on the social landscape, and trying to be a lead learner in theological education. This is not your grandmother, grandfather, or anybody else's seminary. United in its 60 years has distinguished itself, always caring about justice, peace, transformation, and not being invisible when the hard things arise. And there are many hard things, many of which your projects have addressed, and we look forward to hearing about them. Let me offer a word of blessing for our gathering. How good and pleasant it is when kindred dwell together in unity. We thank you, O God, for the work of the year, for stalwart leadership, for vision, for those in the cohort who would sacrifice a couple of Friday mornings a month, precious time, and then would dream to do something that needs doing, and trusting that they were the ones who could get it done. We pray for the ripples from these investments of time and imagination, that the world might grow more just, more peaceful, more reflective of what, oh God, you would imagine this world could be. Hallow our time, we pray, in all that is holy and through the gifts you offer. Amen.
Thanks, Molly. Welcome, everybody. I think it's funny you say this is not your grandmother's or grandfather's seminary, because this is exactly my grandmother's seminary. She was a radical. She was a lifelong member against Women Against Military Madness. She took me to protests against the wars that the U.S. was waging. She was a radical Unitarian. Yeah. So this is my grandmother's seminary in a way, and I'm really happy to be a part of it. And I want to give thanks to all the grandmothers. We'll give her an honorary degree. Well, dear friends, congratulations, first of all, to our pastors. And I want to especially recognize the folks that took a long journey out here. Kim, thank you for coming out all the way from Romeo, Michigan. Nathan was unable to be with us in person, but he's with us on Zoom. Nathan, you want to say hello? If you're there, Nathan. And Anthony as well. You can unmute yourself, say hello. That's okay. There's Anthony coming to us from Tufts, and Nathan coming to us from Iowa, all the way from Iowa.
Hey, everybody. Now we can unmute. Thank you.
Thank you so much for making this hybrid portal pathway possible so that we can both be with you tonight.
It's very exciting to celebrate with you all this evening, and if you haven't had a chance yet, you all need to go back there and take some time. I feel like I need to take like 10 minutes with each of these exhibits. They are simply incredible. When I told the pastors that, I keep calling you the pastors, when I told our cohort members that I wanted to do some kind of like science fair exhibit, they all looked at me like, what? What do you mean? And then they didn't really ask me any other questions. So I had this sense that they knew exactly what I meant. And it turns out they did, especially the poster board look. I mean, some of them are just brilliant. But I also know, we all remember our time and having to do science fair exhibits and the kind of, oh my gosh, what am I going to do, Mom? So I'm sure there was lots of work that went into these, and it really shows. And so much time and thought and energy and prayer and reflection has gone into these projects and to this last 9 months, really. It's been a unique privilege for me to accompany all of you over these last 9 months as you have engaged in the work of deep theological reflection on your ministries for social justice. And I'm grateful to each and every one of you for the time you've taken, for the time you've set aside, those 2 Fridays a month, for learning, for listening, discerning, and praying, and for really reimagining how you might act and take leadership in the ministerial and holy work for justice. This is a very challenging time in history. We're living in very challenging times. And for those of us who seek to minister in the overdeveloped world, we have a great responsibility to act with urgency and dedication, to address concretely within our contexts the many interlocking crises that face our increasingly imperiled planet. These days I've been reflecting on a question that emerges from the Jewish tradition. 2 questions. If not you, then who? If not now, then when? This is a serious existential question that faces each and every one of us. Perhaps especially those of us committed to being agents of social change, taking leadership in the struggle for social justice in our world. If not you, then who? If not now, then when? At the same time, we always struggle where we are. For our commitment to social justice to be more than merely a set of abstract ideas or confessional statements, the where and the when of our ministries matter. The where and the when matters. And perhaps most importantly, the with whom. The with whom we do the work of justice. It is not easy to know how to act against injustice. It might be easy to say things against injustice. It might be easy to raise your fist and get angry, but it's not easy to know how to act against it. Not to mention how to lead others. But we do have lights. We do have lights if we stop and look around. And often those lights leading us along the path become clearer to us when our leadership is grounded in relationships of mutuality, humility, and a spirit of curiosity. The truth is, I think many of us fail to act out of fear. Sometimes these fears are very real, and sometimes they are very much of our own making. But there is no getting around the fact that becoming agents of social change means taking risks, getting out of our comfort zone. It means taking risks without guarantees. It means moving beyond fear, and such work often does involve conflict. Conflict with the power structures, whether they be visible, like Enbridge, or whether they be more invisible. These structures that uphold injustice. And of course, the dangers we face are always differentially distributed, right? We're not all at risk in the same kind of way. And this is one of the reasons why I believe we need each other. I believe we need each other now, and we will need each other more, even more in the future. You all need each other. So I want you to take a moment and look around you. Look who's here with you today, the people that you've studied with, the people that have been your teachers, friends, colleagues, people from your congregation. These are friends, comrades. Let us not underestimate the power we have right here in this room. In our relationships, there is strength and there is real power. This class, for all of you, has entailed the work of deep reflection about how to join in and with the transformative possibilities for life emergent in your context of ministry. It has involved the work of discerning the spirit of life in the midst of your congregation and your community, and making some concrete commitments to act and to build something, to do something. That's no small thing. Tonight we will be hearing a couple of our pastors in the cohort. We'll be hearing from them for some reflections. But I wanted to briefly highlight the many incredible projects that are showcased here tonight. And again, I encourage you to visit each one. We have pastors from this cohort developing relationally based curricula for intergenerational conversations, brave conversations that address issues of race, gender, sexuality, and class. We have pastors committing themselves to reshaping their entire adult education programming to be more deeply rooted and more responsive to the needs and challenges of their neighborhoods, the neighborhoods in which their communities are located. We have pastors working to address critical mental health needs for youth by providing intentional space and time in which youth are released to turn away from social media and other expectations and pressures in order to experience a sense of deep connection with one another and the earth. We have pastors who are working with their congregations in a time of transition, drawing on tools from community organizing, doing one-to-ones in their congregation, in order to reground the systems and structures of their congregation through relationship and through a justice lens, and to facilitate spaces for deep listening. We have pastors working on campuses to create accessible resources for students, highlighting underrepresented voices from the global South, and pastors who are seeking to reshape the culture on their campus toward radical inclusivity, equity, and well-being for all. We have pastors who are developing curricular resources for guiding congregations to take action as water protectors in solidarity with indigenous communities. Go take a look at Emily's brilliant exhibit. It's an amazing idea. We have pastors who are working at a denominational level to create tools for pastoral leaders to build more equitable, just, and sustainable faith practices in churches. This is a project that involves not just one church, but a whole bunch of churches. This is going to address systemic issues at a denominational level. We have pastors who are holding several courageous community education events to eradicate hate in extremely hostile territory. Excuse me. Incredible bravery. Facilitating open and safe community conversations on transgender awareness and critical race theory in collaboration with community organizations. We have pastors who are working to create infrastructure within their congregation that would provide support, resources, and hospitality for transgender individuals and their families who come to Minnesota for gender-affirming care. We have churches becoming sanctuaries. It's no small thing. We have pastors who are building power to fight for disability justice through concrete changes to policy and legislation to loosen the restrictions of the prior authorization process for patients and create stronger regulations for insurance companies and pharmacies. This would be life-changing and life-saving for people in Minnesota living with disabilities and chronic illness. This is very good work. Incredible, right? Can we give them another round of applause? Well, some of you have already begun to implement your projects. For many of you, I know, this is just the beginning of this journey. Know that I will be praying for you all, and that all of us here are cheering you on. And know that in the coming months, I will be following up to see how things are going. I will be checking in because I want to stay near to you, and I want to stay close to these projects and to your work because I believe so much in your ministries and the possibilities of what can and will be done. And when doubt and fear set in, when you start to wonder, well, I don't know, is this really going to work? Is this really... Remember the question, if not you, then who? If not now, then when? Congratulations, friends.
Good evening. Good to see you all. My name is Ned Wickmore. I use he, him, and his, and I have been honored to be part of this dream team of teaching fellows for the inaugural Leadership Center for Social Justice. And Amy and I are here to share some blessings to our graduates. So just want to say congratulations. Let's echo the inspiration at just the amazing work at the science fair. And I think it's pretty safe to say sorry, did that sound cynical? At the science fair. I'm jazzed about it. It's great. Yeah, and I think, I think probably speak for a lot of the teaching fellows to say that I think for us, we've learned, I think, just as much, from this experience and being part of this and working with you, learned just as much from you all as we contributed. So just wanted to share a quote from San Romero de las Americas, Oscar Romero. This is my ambition for you and for me, to be great, ambitiously great, because we are God's images, and we cannot be content with mediocre greatness. So I love this quote and this blessing from Romero because he's providing sort of this pathway from something that we need to be liberated from in order to receive a blessing. So this liberation from mediocrity in order to receive this blessing of greatness, like these treasures that God has given us. And so just in that spirit, I just want to share some additional ambitions for all of you, for liberations, for blessings. And these are for all of you participants in the program, but also for anyone who has a stake in your ministry, which I think extends to a lot of people in the room and beyond this room. So I pray that you will find liberation from the immediate powers of now and share in the blessings of the power that we can build together over time. I pray that you will find liberation from the speed of transaction and share in the blessings that come at the speed of transformation and at the speed of trust. I pray that you will find liberation from having to have all the answers and share in the blessing of asking those deep transformational questions. I pray that you will find liberation from those pesky prepositions of having to do to and for others, and find liberation of work doing with and among others. I pray that you will find liberation from the shallow limitations and share in the blessings of radical imagination. I pray you will find liberation from demonic scarcity and share in the blessings of God's abundance. And lastly, I pray that you find liberation from profane compliance and share in the blessing of sacred rebellion. This is my ambition for you and for me, to be great, ambitiously great, because we are God's images and we cannot be content with mediocre greatness. Blessings.
Good evening. My name's Amy Finnegan. I use she, her pronouns. It's nice to be with all of you, and I'm really grateful for this experience this year, so I'm grateful to everyone. My words are few. The blessing I wanted to bring forth was something that's been useful for me. I first heard these words from a comrade in the West Bank in Palestine about 6 years ago. May we catch courage, because courage is contagious. And I think when we surround ourselves with others who are also courageous, we can become bolder, our fears can dissipate, we can become stronger, more beautiful, and more loving in the face of injustice. So my blessing or my prayer, my hope is that we may all catch courage.
Well, good evening. Thank you. I'm Ann Attia, and I'm a pastoral associate at Church of the Ascension in North Minneapolis. And in the Catholic tradition, there's a saying that circulates about the best kept secret, and that being Catholic social teaching. So Catholic social teaching is articulated in the body of ecclesial writings, including papal encyclicals and documents put out by bishops, conferences, and related work. But in a nutshell, what they talk about is the inherent dignity of every human being. And they call us to community, to solidarity, to option for the poor. And they also ask us to articulate the basic rights, or to work for basic rights and basic needs, and to care for our earth. So I personally look to Catholic social teaching as the heart of who we should be and what we should be about as people of faith. And the root of all of that is relationship. So I have to say that I didn't come to United Theological Seminary to take a course. I came here to encounter others who are passionate about practicing what Jesus preached. And so I am grateful to Rai and to Stella and to our teaching fellows, right, and to all of the folks in the cohort who created space for all of us to encounter one another, to learn, to reflect, and to grow in our understanding of sensing and curiosity and discernment and commitment and building not only a sustainable social justice ministry in our context, but I think a framework for living our lives in a very pluralistic and consumeristic world. So the wisdom shared by the folks sitting here and the content of the program and our conversations and personal reflections have woven the beginning of a rich tapestry that we will take forth from here and continue to weave as all of our projects unfold in real time. So for me, social justice isn't something that we do. It's a way of looking at the world and living our lives. And to that end, I'm very grateful to my colleagues from Ascension who couldn't be here, but to my colleague Estella, who is here, and to the parishioners from Ascension, Kate and Jean and Kathleen and Carla, who are here, to the folks at United Theological Seminary who have given us this opportunity to be a part of this, but also especially to Carla. Not only is she an Ascension parishioner, but she was one of my confirmation students when I first started at Ascension. And you know, people go to confirmation in high school and they graduate and they leave, and then you may or may never see them again. And here she walks back into my life as the executive director of Pueblos en Lucha en Esperanza, who now we are partnering with to continue Ascension's commitment to social justice. So I would like to invite Carla to come up and say a few words with us too about the partnership.
Hello. Thank you, everybody. My name is Carla Redondo. I'm the Executive Director of Pueblos de Lucha en Esperanza. And I have to say I'm so proud of you, Anita. This has been amazing. It's so good to be able to be back to my community as a director of Pueblos de Lucha en Esperanza, to work with you. Like you said, I've been your confirmation student since I was 10 years old, but now I want to give back to my community as they have given to me. And so this is so special to see you and to partner with you to make sure we're giving our families what they deserve, not what they need. Because again, we all deserve a healthy life, a safe home, to be able to have meals with their families and not worry. And so I appreciate the partnership in fighting these injustices that exist and winning these huge victories, like the driver's license for all now that's passed in Minnesota. And so getting ready for that. And again, thank you for this. And like my mentor, Ned, would actually say, La lucha sigue. So thank you, everybody.
Buju Gagayashi Kintijnakas, Gawaba Biganika Gandunjaba. My name is Everlasting Wind, and I'm from White Earth. My English name is Dawn Goodwin, and I'm really, really very honored to have been a part of this year. What an amazing opportunity for all of us to be part of this. And just to reflect a little bit on what others have said, we've learned from you all. And that's the amazing part about this, the beautiful part about all of this. It's gonna be hard to have a new class and leave you all behind. But like Rai said, we'll be checking on you.
we'll stay in touch, and I hope that we will all stay in touch and continue to work together. So my messaging tonight, my blessing for you all. We know this work that you all do, that we do for social justice, can be very difficult. We can burn the candle on both ends, so to speak, become dry. We need to fill ourselves up. And I want you to take that with you as you do your work. Take all you have learned from us and each other and this whole experience, and do not forget about taking care of yourself. I think that is one of the most important things that I have learned as I've done this work. Taking care of yourself, taking time. And one thing I want to stress is don't be so busy that you don't take time for your loved ones and your elders. So I want to stress that tonight. Take care of yourself. Take the time. I want to quote my friend, the famous Melinda Iverson. She says, "You can only do what you can do, and that is all you can do." So, Miigwech, thank you all for this opportunity, and I look forward, and I just hope that we can all make this difference together. And it's almost surreal to be a part of this and know that this will ripple out for everybody. So, Miigwech.
Bonjour, bonjour. Dinaway Maganug. Hello, my relatives. Deborah Topping from Nagachi Wanang. Well, you did it, right? You took that first step, that scary step, right? Where you said, do I, don't I, should I, shouldn't I, could I, can't I? And you did. Amongst everything else you have going on in your life, you took that step to make the world a better place. How can I make a blessing out of that? You have already done it. You are the blessing. Miigwech, thank you for stepping up. Thank you for loving. Thank you for changing the world. You make me proud to know you. I'm honored to call you my friend. And together we have this. So Miigwech, thank you.
So I will confess that I was pretty excited that I got in to this program. Felt really hopeful and joyful to be part of something like this again and to delve into social justice and leadership in this way. But I also came into it with a pretty healthy dose of fear and trembling. It has been 20 years since I was last in the classroom as a student. And so I took a first day of class picture this fall, on my front porch with my bag. And I felt those first day of class jitters all over again. But I think that what I was anxious about, more than the papers or the reading or the academic work or my incredibly intimidating, amazing colleagues who I only knew through bios at the beginning, was grappling honestly about how social justice is borne out in my life and in my ministry 20 years in. And how in the midst of all the other tasks that are part of this work of leading a church, that I am still putting skin and bones and time and effort into bringing about the kingdom of God here on earth. Now, those two things are not in opposition, at least I hope not most of the time. But sometimes I do sense this gap between where I feel like I am pouring most of my time and energy and efforts in ministry and where God seems to be moving most palpably in the world, doing all the things that God is known for, creating, disrupting, inviting, transforming, liberating. That's all pretty much what I think our cohort experience has been about too. That dynamic is really what drew me to it in the first place and what made it such a daunting commitment to keep coming to all these months. Sometimes driving back down 52 to Rochester after class, I would spend the whole time thinking, what am I doing? Am I really cut out for this class? Or I would jump off of a Zoom from our class in my office and then hustle off to a meeting that felt terribly disconnected from what we had just talked about. And I thought often, what if this isn't changing anything about me and how I do ministry? More confusing though, what if it is? Because I know how to do it this way. Am I as ready for transformation as I think the world should be? The honest answer to that, of course, is no. But I have found this space and this experience to be as graceful and encouraging as it has been challenging and convicting. And the wise group of people that have been brought together here through this program, students and facilitators, have been catalysts that have given me the courage to wrestle with issues like power and trauma and conflict and connection and injustice in ways that were really hard and strange and complicated, and made me realize that I still want to wrestle with those things because they are vital to my life and our ministry. So rather than feeling like the work of justice is something, another stuff that is piled on top of an already full plate, I've come to realize actually how much possibility for transformation is already inherent in the work of congregational life, in the whole concept of people showing up and coming together to do the tedious and the holy alike. Now, we do not always get it right in the church, but the whole concept of what a church body is about, a community like that is about, has some pretty potent components for social justice at its core. Pentecost is about unleashing the Spirit, right? To do its work, to do that disruption, to do that hope, to do that deep listening, to do that liberation. And it turns out that that can actually happen in a United Methodist congregation in Rochester, Minnesota, as much as it can anywhere else. And I have a role to play in tending that. I have a role to play in tending that in me. I have a role to play with the people in our church and in our community and the ones whose voices I feel like I dared to want to hear. As part of preparing for this final project, Rye turned me onto this book called Accompanying: Pathways to Social Change by Staunton Lend. And this idea of accompaniment is one that I really resonate with. It was helpful in thinking about what it means to be a leader, to consider this metaphor of walking alongside people, of coming alongside each other, to share stories, to bear witness, to name truth and pain, to confess. And so I want to thank you, all of you, for accompanying me through this sacred journey these last 9 months, and for all the people that you are doing that with still. And I want to close with the words that close this book, which says, "Where 2 or 3 are gathered in the name of bringing into being a world in which human beings share as members of one family, that world, so it was said of old, has already begun to exist."
We're going to pass out everyone's certificates now. I'm not supposed to give a blessing, but I just want to say that I really am proud of all of you guys. And in a world where church and pastors are often synonymous with hate and, I don't know, not great things, you guys have given me hope. And just, yeah, I'm excited for what you're going to do. So I will start. So we're going to share everyone's project name and where they serve, and then their name. And you can come up, and Rye will give you your certificate. So the first pastor, she is the teaching pastor at St. Andrew's Lutheran Church in Matomidi, Minnesota. Her project is called Co-Creation Conversations, and it's Amy Mihalich Smith. And we can feel free to clap. Yeah. You're doing great. You're doing great.
You know the drill.
Yeah. Our second pastor is the Director of Formation and Social Justice at Ascension Catholic Church in Minneapolis. Her project is titled Destination Transformation. Ann Atiyah. You're fine. Our third pastor is online. He is the humanist chaplain and celebrant at Tufts University in Medford, Massachusetts, and his project is titled the Humanist Literacy Project. Anthony Manuel Cruz Pantojas. Our next pastor is the lead pastor at Good Samaritan United Methodist Church, but soon is going to be the assistant to the bishop for the Minnesota UMC. Woo! Her project is titled Social Justice Family Academy, Reverend Carol Zagsma. Our next pastor is the teaching pastor at Meeting House Church in Edina, Minnesota. His project is titled Theology in the Neighborhood, Dr. Christian Collins Wynn. Next up is the pastor at People's Congregational Church in Bayport, Minnesota. Her project is titled Drawn Toward the Center, Embodying Inclusion Through One-to-One Conversations, Reverend Claire Grummel. Next up is the executive director of the ministry lab right over here. Her project is titled Watersheds, Interconnection and Water Protection, Reverend Emily Meyer. He's not here tonight, but we will still clap for him. He's the pastor at Bethesda Lutheran Church in Malmo, Minnesota. His project is titled Equipping Mille Lacs Peacemakers, Reverend James Muskie. She's the lead pastor at Christ United Methodist Church in Rochester, Minnesota. Her project is titled Setting the Table for Social Change. Reverend Jenny Cannon. She's the assistant minister at First Unitarian Society in Minneapolis and minister at St. Croix Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin. Her project is titled Trans Welcome at First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis. Reverend Kelly Clement. She's the Associate Dean for Institutional Equity and College Chaplain at Macalester College in St. Paul, Minnesota. Her project is titled Fostering Employee Well-Being, Leveraging Strategic Planning at Macalester College as a Site for Social Justice. Reverend Kelly Stone. She is the pastor at Rise United Church of Christ in Romeo, Michigan. Her project is titled Education to Eradicate Hate. Reverend Kim Newport. She is the Justice Minister at Robbinsdale Parkway United Church of Christ in Robbinsdale, Minnesota. Her project is titled Disability Justice Through Insurance Reform. Reverend Laura Kanata. He's the pastor at First Presbyterian Church in Iowa City, Iowa, and his project is titled First Presbyterian Inside Out Justice Project. Reverend Nathan Willard, and he's online. She's the associate pastor at St. Luke Presbyterian Church in Minnetonka, Minnesota, and her project is titled Finding Joy, a Release of Productivity and Return to Wonder. Reverend Nora Elliott. And last but not least, she's the pastor at Fairmount Avenue United Methodist Church in St. Paul. Her project is titled Pastoral Leadership and Care as Praxis for System Change. Reverend Shauna Horn. Thank you all.
Wonderful. All right, at this point, I'd like to publicly recognize a group of amazing women who have demonstrated tremendous leadership in our community over the last several years. And this is their vision. We are the women calling upon you to rise and protect all that is sacred. That's their vision statement. Notice how their vision is a call to you to rise and protect all that is sacred. Who, me? Me? Yes, you. Yes, me. Many people heard that call and joined Don, Deborah, Sherry, and Karen in the resistance against Enbridge Corporation's Line 3 pipeline. They rose up to protect the sacred, to protect life, to hold the state accountable to the treaties, to protect the land, plants, animals, water, and wild rice for the sake of future generations. The mission of RISE Coalition, Resilient Indigenous Sisters Engaging, is to educate our communities about climate justice, environmental sustainability, water, and treaty rights, in addition to reclaiming our cultural knowledge and lifeways for our people, to educate, empower, and inspire our communities to take actions in the protection of our environment and all that is sacred. Of course, we have also been very fortunate to have Gagishiakik and Nokomis as teaching fellows in our program this year. We've all been blessed by them. I've been blessed by you. Last summer, we had the opportunity as teaching fellows to go visit White Earth, and we had a meal in the tent where folks organized against Line 3, and you could feel it. You could feel the energy in that place. You could feel it. We've been blessed by their sharing with us the living wisdom of Anishinaabe lifeways and cultural knowledge. And I emphasize the living wisdom because too often white people have erased or romanticized, neglected or appropriated indigenous wisdom traditions, treating them as if they were frozen in some ancient past. They aren't frozen, they're living. Only rarely are these traditions taken seriously as living knowledge, and for these traditions to be living knowledge, that means they make a present claim on us. They make claims about the truth and our responsibilities to care for one another in the earth. This is a living knowledge with which we must all reckon, be challenged by, think through, wrestle with, learn from, and be changed. And I think we have been changed and transformed by that wisdom. I'm very grateful for their incredible generosity of spirit, their openness and humility, which you've seen tonight on full display, their grace and their laughter, their tears. When I first met Don, we had a Zoom conversation in which I think we cried most of the time together. Didn't expect that, but we cried a lot together because our hearts were connected in a way, and I'm glad that our hearts are growing closer and developing together. I'm also grateful for your militancy. They're tough. And their gentleness, and the great care they brought to each and every one of their class sessions, which our students can attest to. So, in recognition of its outstanding leadership in our community, the Leadership Center for Social Justice has selected Resilient Indigenous Sisters Engaging Coalition, co-founded by Dawn, Deborah, Sherry, and Karen is with us tonight. Sherry could not make it. So we think of you, Sherry, if you're zooming in or watching this on the recording. You are one of the co-founders and have done so much to build this organization, which will continue to rise, continue to be resilient, and continue to call each and every one of us to rise to protect all that is sacred. So you are the recipient of our 2023 Leadership for Social Justice Award, and we have a really cool award. It's quite heavy. Okay? It looks like what? It looks like water. And arms rising up. So if you can come get your award. Really remarkable work. We're all very grateful. Do you want to say something?
Sure.
Okay.
Now I'm the comedy act. No, just kidding. All right. Here we go. She's gonna oh, wow. Again, very honored to be chosen for this award. I was trying to make Deborah talk, and get up there. She always does that. So I'm the shy one of the bunch. So yes, very, very honored to get such a wonderful award. I was like, wow, that's us, Rye? Really? So, yes, like I said, I'm the shy one. And every time somebody would say, oh, do an interview. Can you get up and speak? Can you do this? I'd be like, oh, sure, yeah. I will do it for the water. Yes, and for my people. And so I will continue to do so. Water is important for everybody. It's life. Water is life. It's essential. And we'll continue to do this as long as I can, as long as I'm on this earth, and probably beyond. So just really thank you, Ram, from the bottom of our hearts. And I am so happy to have met all of you, and I'm looking forward to being part of your future and you being a part of ours. Miigwech.
Bonjour, my name is Karen Durfee. My spirit name is Oshawashko Gwinnipeg, which means blue-feathered spirit woman. I come from Fond du Lac. I'm one of the elders up there, and I'm really grateful to be here tonight, and thankful to my two sisters that reached out and made new friends and learned new things, and I appreciate it. So thank you.
I don't want to say we saved the best for last, but no, I'm kidding. Yeah. Don't drop it. Okay. Wow. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Yay! So it was in the winter of 2018-19, we had gathered I invited a bunch of women, right? So how that goes, you always try to invite everybody, and you know only 4 people are gonna show up, right? So anyways, and there was no really plan for anything. It was just to get together and out of that. And so organically, Rise was created over Nokomis Adopawin, grandmother's table. And what is grandmother's table? What do you get when you sit at your grandmother's table? Some people get hollered at, right? Hopefully, you get a lot of love and understanding, caring. Hopefully you get a cookie, right? And so that's what we decided to do, to sit around and just visit. And like I said, organically, what happens when a bunch of women sit around the table? Stuff gets done, right? So it was cold. We had to build a fire. And thank God my husband taught me how to build a fire, because, there's days he wakes up and we wake up and it's cold and he says, oh my God, I thought I taught you how to build a fire. And I'm over there and I'm praying and I'm begging and I'm, got the birch bark but we did it. What brought us together? The love of each other. The love of wanting better, the love of water, and the love of food, right? It's our basic human rights. So, out of that, we built Rise. to protect all that is sacred. Miigwech.
Good evening. Hello. First, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for giving me the hope that I need for my ministry. And it's a privilege to know that I have colleagues that I can count on to do this collective work for justice. So thank you. My name is Yera Losorto, and I have the honor of serving a congregation in South Minneapolis, St. Paul San Pablo Lutheran Church. And they are the ones that form who I am in my work for ministry. It's been a privilege to accompany you on this year's journey. And at the beginning of our time together, I spoke to you about faith. That is, about the depths of trust required to sustain action towards justice. And I commend to you once more the twin insights of two of my Christian forebears. In the 12th century, Bernard of Clairvaux wrote that we each must drink from our own wells. And 8 centuries later, Gustavo Gutierrez taught us the waters of liberation spring anew in these wells of intentional, active faith. This year, you took time to pause, to listen to deep waters flowing beneath the surface of everyday life. You tended to your wells, maintaining their integrity. You slowed down long enough to drink deeply of God's faithfulness, or from the earth's steadfast love, or from the blessings of community past and present. Now, we send you back to your communities of practice. St. Andrew's Lutheran Church, Church of the Ascension, Tufts University, Good Samaritan UMC, or now the Minneapolis or the Minnesota denomination, right? Meeting House Church, People's Congregational Church, the Ministry Lab, Bethesda Lutheran Church, Christ UMC, First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis, McAllister College, Rise UCC, Robbinsdale Parkway UCC, St. Luke Presbyterian Church, and Fairmont Avenue UMC. Welcome the opportunity to be accountable to these traveling companions and to share with them what you have found and to help them divine where they might dig their own wells, journey with them so that faith might live in your actions. My own community of accountability often turns to a prayer when its members are sent forth. As all honest faith must do, the prayer acknowledges uncertainty, ventures of which we cannot see the ending, paths as yet untrodden, perils unknown. At the brink of the unknown, my community calls out, give us faith to go out with good courage, not knowing where we go, but only that your hand, the divine hand that liberated enslaved folk, the hand that held children and broke bread, that hand opens an invitation and blessing, only knowing that your hand is leading us and your love supporting us. So as you go from this time toward justice, toward healing, toward the wide embrace of family you have yet to meet, may faith sustain and uphold you. May compassion share between listening hearts, awaken your story, and may wonder reveal fresh questions and new possibilities. Go now, friends, to shape the future in the image of peace, love guiding you every step of the way. May it be so. Amen.
And that concludes our service. Thanks everyone for coming, for joining us, and congratulations again. And I would encourage you in the next while here to stick around and take a look at the different exhibits. And yeah, have a great night. Thank you.